my job. This is the entire purpose of why I came out here. So he's saying, no, listen, don't, in spite of the things that is going on, let not your heart be troubled. And I wrote down a lot of things that's going on in this realm to where we as believers need to let not our heart be troubled. Like we know that there's a climate change. The planet is beginning to get warmer. So as that continue to happen, eventually it's going to be a shortage of food. And before, I know like recently, because I love to go to a different grocery store. I go from grocery store to grocery store almost every single day. And so I noticed when there's a difference, and every store I went to, I go into Dollar General, there's a shortage in almost everything. I'm like, where's the scented candles? Where's the food? It's so much empty spaces on the aisles. Then I go to the neighborhood Walmart, and I'm just looking like, oh my goodness, there's like so much, because I'm so used to everything being stocked up. That's normally what it is. It's always stocked up. But in the midst, when I was standing in the neighborhood Walmart, I just felt so much grief just come upon. And I just felt so much sorrow because God would just begin to speak, saying, this is just the beginning. It is already, things is already starting to take place. He said, let not your heart be troubled. You have no reason to feel that, oh God, how are we going to eat? How am I going to provide for my children? How is this going to happen? How are we going to do it? God said, let not your heart be troubled. They said, ye believe in God, believe also in me. See, the thing that the prescription to the believers, the prescription to his disciples is believe. He said, you believe in God, believe also in me. Your heart don't have to be troubled if you only believe. Believe that I am exactly who I say that I am. And it said, although the nation in trouble, others are overwhelmed with the sorrows of the present time. Listen, the sinners, they're going to be the one trembling, not us. It says, let not your heart be troubled. And this also is the melting of the polar caps. If the polar caps continue to melt, it's going to cause the sea level to rise, which is going to cause certain cities to go underwater. And one of the cities that's on the top of that list is Florida. Another city that's on top of the list is New York City. Some of the main cities that's wilding out is going to be some of the main cities that's going to be underwater. But God says, let not your heart be troubled. When you begin to see these different things occurring, let not your heart be troubled. Remember what God has said in his word. Remember the teachings that you was taught. Because, see, the thing is that God, listen, God don't want to teach his disciples all of this stuff. And then when he leaves, they just sit around sad and moping. No. Because while he was with them, he was grooming them. He was preparing them. He was getting them ready for the day that he leaves. God don't need us Christians walking around looking sad, looking lost, trying to figure out how we're going to do certain stuff. When we already know that God has us. When God has our best interest in heart. When God is not going to allow us, his believers, to just get sucked up in all this stuff that's going on in the world. Some type of way, it's like God knows how to keep us lifted up. He knows how to keep us lifted up. When in a situation where you should be, when normally someone would be feeling down and out and depressed, God, some type of way, he knows how to lift up his believers. So he needs us to hold on to his word, to hold on to the foundation of faith that he has already put in us. All right. You have religions being restricted. We know for many, many years, it's like people had a lot of freedom. But now this freedom is coming to an end. A lot of religions are being restricted. A lot of churches are being forced to shut down. A lot of people, Christians, are being killed because they believe in Jesus. But he's saying, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, also believe in me. See, the answer to everything is just believe. When you walk outside and you see a cloud of darkness, believe. When you go into your bank account and the funds is low and you got things that need to be paid, believe. When you are feeling pain in your body and you feel the lump somewhere, believe. You have to continue to believe because that is the only thing that is going to get us through. Believe the teachings that God has taught us.
Amen.
Verse 2.
Amen. In my Father's house are many mansions.
Pause. And his Jesus still talking. In my Father's house there are many mansions. Now we know we talked about the temple. Now the temple was built by man. But this house, heaven, This house was not built by men. It's a house like none other. It's a house that we know how sometimes when we walk past these big holes, we're like, oh, I want to go inside that house. Oh, that house is nice. Oh, I desire to live in a house like that. But the ultimate house that we all desire to live in, God said it's like no other. Jesus had to tell, listen, I can't stay here with you because if Jesus would have stayed, he could have never sit down and comfort us. He had to leave because he had to go prepare. He is preparing. See, the thing is that Jesus is an ambassador for us. He went on an errand for us. He went to heaven on our behalf to make sure that we are right. He said, I'm preparing a house. In my Father's house, there are many mansions.
If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Jesus is our attorney. He is our ambassador. He is our spokesperson.
And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself.
And right there, he gave us all assurance. He said, I will come again. See, in the midst of Jesus talking to his disciples, what he was doing was he was speaking peace unto their heart. He was speaking peace. He was assuring them. He said, listen, I'm telling you, I'm giving you my word. I'm going to leave, but I will come again. I will come again. And that's something you can hold on to. Because people will tell you, oh, yeah, I'm going to come back. I'll be there later. I'm going to call you today, but then you may not get it. But God says that I will come again. And that's more than all we need to know. And that Jesus said he will come again. And God said that all I have to do is just believe. Live every day believing. Even when it seems hard to believe. Continue to believe because God said, I go to prepare a place for you. He's speaking peace unto the hearts of the disciples. God is the ultimate peacemaker. We need peace in the world that we live in today. We need peace when we hear about certain situations. We need peace when we stand next door to a whole bunch of crooked neighbors. You need peace when you're at work and it seems like everyone is trying to mess with you. You need peace when you need the peace of God. And the peace of God will have you in a chaotic situation to where you will still be at peace. Just like how when they was on the ship with Jesus. When Jesus was asleep and the ship was rocking, the storm there, everybody panicking. But Jesus was at peace. And Jesus said, listen, I need you to know that in the midst of your storm, like how they had a natural storm, but he was trying to teach them something. In the midst of your storm, whether it's natural or spiritual, I need you to remain at peace. Why? Because we serve a peaceful God. There is nothing that God cannot do. God can bring everybody's mind to ease. But you have to get your mind off this situation and put your mind on God. Because if I keep my mind on what's due, if I keep my mind on what I don't have, if I keep my mind on what she have or what he have, your mind is not going to be at peace. But like the Bible said, if you keep your mind stayed on thee, he will keep you in perfect peace. We need our minds to think that we don't have time to waste. Because the moment you decide to waste time, that moment Jesus could be the one coming back. And with all this stuff that's already happening, because we know that God has given us certain time, he says certain things is going to happen, certain signs is going to happen before his coming. And a lot of that already not happened. So from the way how the world is going, we know it literally can be any day now. But are you going to waste time to don't want to forgive no one, don't want to get in God praise, say I'm going to do it later, I'll forgive no one I get ready. But you may not have time to get ready. You got to stay ready because we're waiting on his second coming. We're waiting on Jesus to come back. But if you're not in position, if you keep being a person that's keep hopping in and out of God, that moment, soon as you get ready to hop out, soon as you hop out, that can be the moment when Jesus come back.
Yes.
I need you to get this down in your spirit. You no longer have no more time to waste. God says that people have been playing with me too long. You've been holding back too long. You've been stepping back too long. You've been in and out too long. It's time to get it right and to stay right and to stay in position. See, think that when Jesus was grooming his disciples, he was grooming them to be soldiers. He was grooming them to be warriors of Christ. He was grooming them to be strong in faith. He was grooming them. He was preparing them. That's why we know that Listen, God has prepared us. It's the same thing He's doing us. He's preparing us for His second coming. See, His first coming was amazing. He came, he came with all His angels. Because we know that Jesus like the mafia. He the big boss. He never come alone. You never gonna catch God slipping. You catch the mafias, you see all they little men first before you even see the big man. Yep. And the God first coming, it was a wonderful experience. They got to, because they were speaking about this God. They knew, the people knew, people prophesied saying that the Son of God was gonna come. They knew. But the moment He came, that was a beautiful day because that was the start of so many things for us. Right. That was the beginning of His journey. That was the beginning of so much. That was an amazing day. But what a greater day is going to be for the second coming. Okay, the second coming now, you know what? Let's go ahead. I won't get too ahead of myself. We can turn to Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1, starting at verse 9.
And when He had spoken these things.
Pause. Say, and when He had spoken these things. See, Jesus, if you go to the previous verses, like verse 4, 5, 7, and 8, Jesus was having a conversation with His disciples. They was asking Him certain questions. So this, like, imagine Jesus having a conversation with His disciple, and then right after this happened. So, also at this moment, Jesus has already rose from the grave.
While they beheld.
While they began to gaze at Jesus. Jesus is standing right. Imagine Jesus standing right in front of them, and their eyes is locked on Jesus.
He was taken up.
Jesus began to rise. We know that Jesus rose from the grave with His own power. He didn't have no witchcraft, no voodoo. He didn't have no help. He rose from the grave from His own power. So imagine now, you are sitting here talking to Jesus, and then Jesus began to rise.
And a cloud received Him out of their sight.
So the cloud symbolized His splendor, glory of His body. So as they began to talk to Jesus, and Jesus is rising. Verse 10.
And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as He went up.
Now, so Jesus is going up, and the entire time that He's going up, their eyes is focused on Him. And as their eyes is focused on Him, they begin to receive the blessings that He was just telling them. He was telling them that as He go up, He's going to send His comforter. He's going to send down power. So as He began to go up and their eyes was focused on Jesus, they began to receive the blessings from God. And they let us know that if you only keep your eyes on God, your blessings and your miracles and your healing, everything that you need, you shall receive. But you have to keep your eyes on God. Like their eyes were zoned out. You know how you always talk to someone, you're like, hello? You know, he talking to you, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I was like, I was dozed off. Their eyes was focused on Christ. You have to keep your eyes on Christ and keep your eyes off other people and what other people have going on in their life. They keep your eyes focused on Christ.
Amen. Behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel.
Now, like I said, Jesus is the big boss. He never come alone. So when Jesus was coming out, there was a whole city of angels. There was a whole group of angels who walking Him up. But see, now this is what I love about God, because He always cared. He realized what was going on with the disciples, so He didn't just he could have been nasty. He could have just left and just had no just sit there and stand up. But God left 2 of His angels behind. When He said two men with white hair, He left 2 of His angels behind.
Which also said, ye men of Galilee.
So now, with His disciples, God has put so much honor upon them. He has made them ambassador. But when He said, which also said to them, ye men of Galilee, He's no. You are, y'all are men. You are in His body. Y'all are not spiritual beings, so you cannot go where Jesus is at. In the same part.
Why stand ye gazing up into heaven?
Now, so the Galilee people, they were known for being rude, unpolished people. So he let them know, like, why are y'all sitting here staring? Why are y'all, sitting here staring, like, gazing up? You have seen all you need to see. Like, you cannot see no more. They had Jesus with them the entire time. He said, no, listen, this is the end. You're not going to see no more. Why are you standing here like the Galileans just sitting here just staring? You have seen all you can see. Hold on to the foundation and the words that God has placed into you. He's not known like gone. You don't have to keep standing here because God already picked up so many of the thoughts that was going through their head. I'm pretty sure they felt abandoned, feel like they can't do it without God, do it without Jesus, because they're so used to having Jesus there. They had so many things going across their mind, but God needs to reassure them. Listen, God said, He already told y'all that He will come back. He will be back.
Amen. Amen. The same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen Him go into heaven.
They said, the same Jesus who walked with you and preached to many people, the same Jesus who had fed so many people with only 2 fishes, the same Jesus who had stopped the storm, the same Jesus who had fixed your situation, the same Jesus who had saved your life, the same Jesus who had given you a breakthrough, that same Jesus, He's coming back. And like He says, the same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in the like manner as ye have seen. So listen, that same Jesus, He is still that same Jesus. Yeah. He has already told you. You have nothing to worry about. If you are living for Christ and you are doing the things that God has told you to do, you have nothing to worry about. You don't have to sit here and just watch it. Because God has already sent down His comforter and God has already sent down His power.
Amen. Amen.
We can turn to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24, starting at verse 30.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
See now, He said, the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. The day that Jesus come back, everyone is going to see. Mm-hmm. The Bible in Revelation said that every eye shall see. But like it says, all the tribes of the earth mourn. For all the people who's talking about Jesus wasn't real. For all the people who told you that you're going to church too much and it don't take all that. For all the people who committed blasphemy. For all the people who refuse to give that life over to Christ. For all them Christians who decided to stay lukewarm. For all of them people who just didn't want to give that life over to God. He said they're going to begin to mourn because when that day comes, they can't say that they didn't see. Because the way how God is coming back, all eyes shall see.
Yeah.
Amen.
We can turn to, and go down to verse 37 to 39. 37 to 39.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Now, most of us know the story of Noah. When there was so much sin happening in the land, and God said, you know what, I'm going to flood the earth. But He decided to spare Noah and his family. And He had Noah to build an ark. So in the midst of all this going on, people thought Noah was crazy. I'm pretty sure they thought he was stupid, dumb, retarded, and so many different things. Like, why are you building this big old boat? First of all, we're not even getting that much rain. So in the midst of all this going on, and people just living their life, they just chilling, they just going day by day, no worries in this world, they still sinning, they still wilding out. And then out of nowhere, the flood began to come, and then everyone is acting surprised, but they all got washed away. And God says it's going to be the same way with His return, because so many people are just living life. You know, they say YOLO, and they just living their best life. They turned up, they so many things. They just living life with just no cares in the world. And not even thinking about Jesus, not even thinking about getting that life right. They just feel, some people feel that like they're not going to die. Some people feel that like when they die, everything just over. Some people don't even believe in heaven and hell. There's so many people who believe so many different things. But God said that his second coming is going to be just like that. And like the Bible said, how he come like a thief at night.
Yeah.
You never know when somebody's going to rob your home. Yeah. You never know when somebody's trying to break in. You don't know. That stuff come as surprise. And so many people is going to be so surprised that day when Jesus opened up them clouds. They're going to be so surprised. And just like in the word of God says that not even the angels know. Mm-hmm. Nobody know but the Father. Wow. Jesus, God, nobody know but them. Nobody know. The angels are sitting around the throne and they don't know when he's coming. We don't know. But we don't have time to be like the people in the days of Noah. We don't have time to keep chilling. No. Of course we are chilling in God, but we are still doing the things that God had called to do. We are working for Christ. We are working for the Lord, and we never stop working. Because if someone needs you to pray for them in the middle of the night, we are working for the Lord. Because we're not trying to see no one get left behind. Now, if you go further down, it's talking about there'll be two people in the field, one person get caught up, and it's gonna be like one person from each family. You don't know. So we want to make sure that we can save as many people as possible, because that day of the second coming is coming. But in order to help save these people, we need to make sure that we are being a living example, that we are being a walking example of what Christ expects for us. Amen. We need to have the characteristics and the traits of a believer. Amen. We need to have the characteristics and the traits of Jesus when he was walking this earth, because Jesus didn't really let nothing bother him. Yeah, people did certain stuff about him, but throughout all that they did to God, he stayed on his journey. That was never a thought. See, that's why God was able to use him, because his mind was like so saying, "My mind is made up." Jesus' mind was made up. His mind was made up that he was going to fulfill the will of God no matter what. But is your mind made up on today? Because too many people, you will say your mind made up, but your actions is showing something different. Because God says, listen, I need your mind to be made up. I need your mind to be focused. I need your mind to be drawn in unto the things of me. Stop getting caught up into the other thing that's happening, because like the son said, give me you. Everything else can wait. If your relationship with God is not your first priority, if your relationship with God is not in the good standards, you need to get it together. Amen. Because you just don't know when that second coming, when that day is going to be. We can turn to 1 Thessalonians to close out. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, starting at verse 15. Now, this is one of the most amazing verses.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout.
Now, we know that when Jesus went back to heaven, he ascended up. But now this time, he is descended down. And like the word of God says, he's going to descend from heaven with a shout. Now, the Greek word for shout is kalusma. And kalusma means command. So he's coming, commanding. And continue to read.
With the voice of the archangel.
Now, the archangel, he's coming back without. It's a group of angels. He's coming back. Like I said, Jesus is not going to come alone. He's going to have his angel. He's going to have his crew with him.
And with the trump of God.
Now, it is believed that he's going to have one of his angels to blow the trumpet. And as the trumpet begins to blow, that's when we're going to see Jesus. But the trumpet is going to summon all the people. The trumpet is what's going to wake up the people. The trumpet is what everyone is going to hear.
And the dead in Christ shall rise first.
So God is going to come out with a shout. He's going to command the dead in Christ to rise first. No one else can do that. There's so many religions that like to speak to the dead. They like to bring back ancestors, but can't no one raise the dead first. God says he's coming with a shout, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. So those Christians who had died, but when they died, they were still living the life. Yeah. Meaning that like The moment that they died, like before they died, they was a real Christian. They was doing all that God has told them to do. God is coming back for them first.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord.
Now, so after the dead in Christ shall rise, God is going to have the other believers, the saints, the ones who continue to walk in holiness. It says that we're going to meet him in the air. Now, God is so holy. His presence is so filled with glory that when his feet is not even going to touch this ground. The word of God says we're going to meet him in the air. There's no one can do such thing like that to where we can all meet him in the air. So there is a day that's going to come where God is going to come back for us. And while we are in the air, we're going to be thanking God for coming back for us, for saving us. Because God said for those people who have felt sometime that God has forgotten about you, God said, nope, because I'm coming back for you. That's just like in the natural. If you drop your child off somewhere, you know you're coming back for your child. And God says that I need you to have that same assurance. Know that I'm coming back for you. The same way how a good parent, when they drop their child off, I'm coming back for you. You're going to receive your crown of glory. And when God comes back, He's coming back in His glory. He's coming back in His power. He's coming back in the fullness of who He is. And then day that He come back, His trumpet is going to sound out. No one will be able to say that they didn't hear it. Because His trumpet is going to shout. And He said He's coming up with a shout. He's going to command certain things to happen. He's going to command it. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Oh, when that day comes, you do not have a choice. But right now, you have a choice to get your life right. We still have some time. I don't know how much time, but you still have some time to get it right. Don't wait until that last day, because when that last day comes, whatever decision that God has for you, you're going to have to deal with it. But God bless you all.
Amen.